benefiting from my pain, and I don't even think that's the right word, from my struggles of stroke recovery, because condo lifestyle, she's seen me walk around the parking lot and cane and then no cane and just walking and relearning how to walk again. And she's spoken with me on various occasions, and she's seen me improve on being able to speak and then carry things. I could carry things inside the house and do the stairs at the same time. So these are all steps of 2 years, which sounds like a long time, but it's a split second when it comes to time. It's been my focus to get better, but now it's my focus to share and hope I'm making a change for someone else. And it was such a compliment to hear that I give her something by seeing how far I've come. She knows she can come that way.
Go live! Yay! AM Aphasia Boost. It is National Aphasia Awareness Month, this month of June. I don't want to ignore, and I put it in my notes, it also is Alzheimer's and Brain Injury Month, as well as Men's Health Awareness Month. In regards to Aphasia Awareness Month, my name is Paula. I am a stroke survivor diagnosed with aphasia amongst other disabilities, and I go live every day for the first time in the month of June. This is the first time I'm doing this, and I do this as I've looked to share information about aphasia and our recovery. Certainly I include some of the things that I've gone through in my recovery, hoping that someone might benefit, looking for someone that might desire this information. Many of it you may already know. It's reiterating some of the information is not a bad thing. You try, say, reiterating. I've worked hard to get my voice back, and this is why I go live, because it's me, and I fought for this, and I'm letting you know that you can too. And these are some of the ways that I do it. One is certainly speaking and doing it as much as possible, which is not something I did before. We can have that whole conversation about what's an introvert and extrovert. But in regards to going forward, let's do our daily practice. And I'm standing as, just a reminder, I am an exercise physiologist, just so happens, as well. So I'm asking to do arm circles. So you bring your arms up, bring them up shoulder height as much as possible, but don't bring them up any higher. Just bring them to shoulder height. Straight out if possible, sitting or standing. When you're standing, use those core muscles. Use your core muscles as much as possible, as that helps us with our balance, as I've mentioned before. Sitting, please keep in mind, sitting back and out as much and using your core muscles matters too. But going forward, I'm going to bring mine backwards. I'm going to go little circles backwards. I tend to do 5 at a time in each way. So 4, 5. So now let's go forward and let's count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go backwards. 5, 4, 3. We're going to go forwards one more time. 1, and we're going to go 5, 4, 3. Notice these small circles. 2, 1. It's very good for the shoulders. It's good for blood flow. Did you feel it? I know I did. Did you feel? Even though I've done a couple today, you feel it and get the body moving. Get a little more movement of the bloodstream. Certainly, it's about bringing bloodstream to the brain and oxygen. There's 4 areas on each cell, blood cell, that has room for oxygen. Only 4. And you want them all, which is why we want to all be healthy as possible. Please work with your doctor in regards to exercise programs and movement, because I mentioned those 4 pieces of oxygen. If you are sick in some way, those may not be available to you, as white blood cells tend to take over. But we want 4 red blood cells with oxygen on them on each of our red blood cells. And that's what I'm trying to be healthy and show you some of those points. But I want to bring up today is nonverbal skills. See my hands? I do this a lot these days. I've mentioned it to you. I've changed. I had to change. I couldn't communicate. I couldn't speak. I was not able to have an organized thought. This is aphasia. It didn't mean it wasn't in my head, because aphasia does not affect intellect. It is about actually being able to once again share a communication. So my communication style changed, and I became very dramatic with my hands and arms. Well, one of the things you can do in regards to that is body language means a lot. So when you're communicating with people, or you're out and about and you're doing things, there's habits that you relearn that maybe you weren't doing for years. We've been online for years, or we certainly don't necessarily, once we have aphasia, don't necessarily communicate any longer. You change your communication style. So when you want someone to go by, you do your arms like that. When you want someone to slow down, you need to ask them to slow down, because I may have to ask them to repeat it. And sometimes that's the only word that comes out, is repeat. As well as the hand gesture helps when you say repeat, because then the person that you're communicating with, or Zoom or group, can actually understand a little bit more of what you're trying to express. I brought up shoulders yesterday because I was like, I don't know. When I was asked, do you want a chair with arms or not? And I'm like, I don't know. So body movement and body language is a communication. So also it's a reminder that we should all be celebrating our little moments. No matter how small, we celebrate today and now. Tomorrow is no guarantee, but today I can say to you that my brain fog is doing wonderfully controlled. I'm not sure I remember the last day that I had brain fog, and I used to have it by 8 o'clock every morning. I mention it that way because it just came in so thick and so hard on some days that it was just like, and I've said this before, that it's just like watching the fog roll in at the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and you would just watch it roll in every day, 9:30, every single day. Now my brain fog started at 8, but you could see it rolling in at 8, and you could actually see by 9 o'clock it could be sucked in and solid. And it amazed me to watch that every day. As I come from the East Coast originally, and I was in San Francisco for a little while, and it was so fantastically different because the East Coast, we watch it go out. San Francisco, it came in. Some days the Golden Gate Bridge wouldn't be so fogged in, but it came in. It came in every day, and that's brain fog. I could feel it coming in. I could feel my body and my brain and my struggle get that much harder, and that's brain fog. I'd have to rest. No choice about it. I'm happy to celebrate that. I can't remember the last day I had brain fog. It was probably last week. I just don't remember right off the top of my head, and that's wonderful. And maybe I should be journaling that and writing that down. At the same time, it's a celebration that I can say to you, it's been a couple days at least, and that's really a great thing to celebrate. I would love to know what you're celebrating, as these little wins are truly a celebration of us getting more manage of our brain and our mind and our body getting healthier, which is why I ask you to bring your shoulders up, just little circles, getting some body movement going. I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining. Take care. Hi. Hello. Friday. Hello. Stroke Survivor Sunrise Friday. As I'm right into what I want to talk about today. I hope you're doing well. My name's Paula. I am an aphasia survivor. It's Aphasia Awareness Month, and in the month of June, I decided this year to go live every day. I'm going live every day to show you that I'm speaking, and this is me, really me, and not AI or fake or edited. And the reason why that is so important, because I had to relearn how to speak, I had to relearn how to communicate, and as well as many of you are going through aphasia recovery. And I would hope that I'm inspiring you. I'm looking at giving us our due in regards to recognizing Aphasia Awareness Month and our brain injury. Aphasia is a brain injury, often from a stroke, and it is a language disorder, and I know I experienced it, and the communication and not being able to speak or communicate or have an organized thought and get it out or write, even learning how to write. Numbers were awful for me. But I'm looking at it as an empathy that we should be proud of how far we've come, no matter how far it is, and you should do whatever you feel like, but we should actually focus on ourselves and our recovery. So I'm bringing up today's daily practice, and that's going to be shrugging shoulders, lifting the shoulders. I brought up shrugging a couple times this week, so I was like, gosh, that really is an exercise to do. And in that, the exercise we're doing is moving the back muscles and helping our back muscles get stronger. Upper back, obviously, in this case. But I count backwards. That's what I do to reach my goal. So we'll go 10, 9, shoulders back, straight, 8, 7, just the shoulders, 6, 5. Going backwards gives a sense of completion. 3, 2, 1. And that sense of completion is certainly within us. And if you want to do more reps, you count forward, because you got to see how much more you can do. 1, 2, 3. And then you can celebrate that 3 more or 5 more, the reps of whatever you're doing in your arm circles or your toe lifts or your knee marching. It going backwards, though, does give a sense of completion, and we can certainly go, yay, I did that, and move on to the next thing. It is a goal, and it is a marker to reach. And I always did that for my cardiovascular program when I worked in the hospital, that in the rehab program, that having a sense of completion is certainly part of the process of reaching a certain goal. But I want to mention too, as well as what we're working is the big trapezius muscle in the center of the back when we shrug our shoulders, as giving it a good stretch is also bringing our head to the side. I use my hand to give it a little bit of tension, give it a little bit of stretch, extra stretch, and then you do the other side. And that's stretching that big trapezius muscle, and that helps to relax, keep the blood flow going. I get tension in my back. I don't know about you guys, but I get tension in my back, and you don't want that, because that's not helping with the process. It's also the rhomboids and the levator scapulae muscles. The levator scapulae muscles are lifting our shoulder blades themselves, and they do come up to the cervical area, and they overlap with my favorite muscle to say, which is the sternocleidomastoid mastoid muscle. Now, those are the neck and the chin area, and they don't have to do with lifting it, but I just love saying that, sternocleidomastoid muscles. It's fun to be able to say that again, as I couldn't say that. I couldn't speak for a good 2.5 years, and certainly since February, I've actually improved a lot, as I have some videos on my YouTube, and you can go back and you can look and notice that there is a progression there. Going forward, I wanted to talk about Aphasia Awareness Month and helping our care partners and family and friends and people around us understand aphasia. And that's difficult. That makes it difficult in communicating in society, but it also is difficult to communicate and help them understand what's going on. So I encourage that care partners and others learn about aphasia. There is so many of us that have it from our stroke, and our brain injury and in our recovery. And it is not an intellectual damage. It is a language and communication damage in the area of our brain. Certainly our recovery is completely different. There's so many types of aphasia, and then there are subtypes, and then we're all different in what damage we had, how much, and as well as our drive and our ability to go forward and what else was damaged. And I bring that up in the sense of I just want to bring up that you should be proud of how far you've come. We should be celebrating. We get to live. We had strokes, we survived, and we get to live. By getting to live, every day is a new beginning for us. We get to start anew. Every day I challenge myself. I certainly recognize that there has to be some points where you're challenging too far and you could cause risk. There are other dynamics with my aphasia, my stroke, and they include the cerebellum. And that's an example that I want to bring up, that I couldn't walk, I couldn't move very well, and I couldn't walk. I didn't have a sense of balance, and I couldn't walk on the beach. That's a big deal for me. I love the ocean. It's always been a part of my life in some way, in a lot of ways, and I've been very fortunate that way, except I couldn't walk on the beach. And I couldn't even do it with a cane. That was just totally awkward. I appreciated the areas that had boardwalks. I only went to areas that were near walkways that I could go on. But then I did walk on the beach for the first time since my stroke, and it was in November 2024 that I walked on the beach. That had been that was almost 5 years since my stroke before I could walk. And November sounds like an odd time, but it was a beautiful day, and I was in my sneakers. I wasn't in barefoot. And I was so proud that I could walk on the beach. And it was the squishy part. It wasn't just the hard sand. It was the sand that moves around a lot. And I was able to do that without a cane and without having to hold on to someone. I was able to walk on the beach. And I did walk right to the shoreline and took some pictures and looked up out on the water. And it was a beautiful moment for me. That reminds me of having a new beginning every day, and I'm hoping I'm inspiring you to recognize that you can have those and become some of what you used to be, accepting that this is a new beginning, this is new challenges. Aphasia takes away our ability, pardon, live. But I want to wish you a wonderful day. Take care. Hey, it's Saturday. Warrior wake up call. I am here on Saturday, June 14th. My name is Paula. I go live every day in the month of June as regard to Aphasia Awareness Month. As many of us know, Stroke Awareness Month was May, and Aphasia Awareness Month is June of every year. This is the first year I've done this, and I do this and I go live as I show you that I'm able to communicate and I'm able to speak. I have aphasia. I was diagnosed with that from my stroke from 2020. So 5 years and a few months at this time. And I did the hard work to be able to do this. And I'm so happy to communicate with you some of the rewards and some of the concepts behind aphasia as we all celebrate this month that we are now part of, not necessarily a group we wanted to be, because aphasia is a language and a communication disorder caused by some sort of brain injury in some way. So I understand the numbers out there. Something about a third of the strokes have aphasia. I wasn't aware it was that high. but we'll get into that. Let's do our daily practice. Our daily practice today is actually walking. I know I'm sitting down. I really can't show you walking around and do this live activity. So I wanted to talk about walking and how important that is, as it is cardiovascular and it's endurance. It helps make your brain or get your brain to be focused on all the coordination that goes with walking, as well as getting ourselves upright. Is about breathing properly and standing and moving. If you can walk around your house, you might, and or outside. Outside, of course, we all know nature and activity is better outside. I know in my experience that with the cerebellum stroke that walking was a difficult task, and I wasn't able to go outside for 2 months, and then I had a cane for years. And I would walk outside with my cane, but I want to add with my stroke, I also had the disability or the instance where, or disruption I call it, of hearing sensitivity. So in my apartment where I used to live, it was extremely busy area. It was very, very busy. A couple malls I could walk to. And not that I would, because it's not roads you want to go across during traffic times. So I would go at 4:30 in the morning in the month of June because it was the early sunrise, and I would go walking. That would be outside the apartment complex. At some point, I stuck right in the apartment complex and just walked around in circles there. What I'm getting at is really it's about the doing and getting the body moving and getting the endurance and going. As I bring it up today as important, I know I haven't been walking that much lately, and I need to get out and do some more myself and get some walking done. So it's a little reminder for myself as well. I'm so glad you're here to talk today. I want to bring up the awareness of aphasia and our efforts in communicating with our speech therapists and trying to understand what is aphasia. Possibly you're working with an occupational therapist or a different medical team, if they could share some information about aphasia and what it means. There's so many different types and so many different subtypes that they, in my experience of the 3 different speech therapists I have, they don't share too much about aphasia because they don't want to define us in the sense that we're all very different in our brain injury itself. We're all very different before we had our brain injury. And we're all extremely different, of course, in our momentum and our drive and what gets us going. I'm hoping I provide some insight and some momentum for you as we talk about this. But I should have journaled, and I maybe should do some more of that on different types of aphasia and what do I have. And I say, do I have? Aphasia, it's my experience, is a very difficult thing to overcome. And I definitely have certain times and moments that it truly surprises me as I'm speaking with you that I have to stumble and I have to stop and I have to slow down and repeat that because I can't keep up the pace. And that's part of communicating. Depending on where you live or depending on your style of living, the pace of communication is different in different areas of in the country, certainly in the world. So I had to learn a little bit in regards to how I grew up in the Boston area, and we speak really fast. And when I say that, it's not just I used to speak really fast, but the communication coming at me was really fast. So I had a difficult time keeping up, which meant I had to use a metronome. It's a tool. I wasn't going to bring it up today, but maybe I should talk about that. There is a metronome app. You know, the thing that piano lessons or music lessons that goes back and forth? Well, there is an app for that, and you can set it. And I worked with my speech therapist because I asked her about how do I get my pace up. When you read aloud and you read sentences, read poems, read tongue twisters, you try to pace yourself a little bit faster so you can meet your communication style. So that's just a trick that I learned. I also do want to just bring up something that I try to do is gratitude and change my way of thinking. That's hard. A lot of people go through a lot of things in our stroke recovery, but I just want to bring up that, sometimes you have to think differently. And one of the things is I picked up affirmations, and I choose to see the good in every situation. Hello, welcome for joining for my Aphasia live communication. I'm so happy you're here. I don't know if you're helping someone with aphasia or you have aphasia yourself. I just brought up Metronome, and I just didn't want to ignore that that point was added today. But walking is important, daily practice, and affirmations. I choose to see the good in every situation. That's a difficult thing to say on a hard day, but if you say it, you're training your brain to think of the joy and think of the positive, and that's part of the momentum of changing our behavior and changing how we think. As stroke recovery, brain injury, aphasia recovery is definitely a challenge. I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Thank you for joining today.